Welcome to the 100th Grand Prix in Silverstone of VL Season 5. Today, we have our racing director, Brandon, that's gonna race in the middle of everything. We have our lovely broadcast director, Stuben. Thank you very much, as always. Me, the desk host, and two lovely race commentators. One is Craden, and the other one is Joycey.
Well, hello, guys. Cheers for the intro, Sandro. We couldn't find two lovely commentators, so we got me and Joycey instead. It's going to be a fun time. And I look forward to today's race.
They got me in the wheelchair and wheeled me out the retirement home. I'm back.
I mean, what do you want more? Two lovely broadcaster for the 100th Grand Prix here. Are you guys hyped? Do you expect something? Do you have any idea how it's going to play out?
Not really. And one thing that's going to be great is I think we've got a full roster of 20 drivers, at least for the race, maybe one or two missing for quali. So when you get those massive fields, it's going to be really unpredictable. A lot more could go wrong, which means our favourites like Trav and Sonny might have a bit of a tougher time on their hands.
Yeah, and if there's one thing for certain on a VLF1 stream, is that there's potential for crashes, safety cars, and a whole host of spam and flame in the after chat.
Hell
so
yeah.
Who knows what we're going to get.
Yes, and in the middle of that, we also have a return of the likes of Calm and Impress. While we go back to F1 2020. Seems like people enjoy 2020 more, and these two wanted to have a piece of the cake as well now. So we know Calm is fast, and he will probably shake up the top half of the field. But what about Impress? Because he certainly can be fast, but he sometimes also can be a danger bot. So what do you guys, what is your guys' opinion on Impresses?
It feels like a bit of a nostalgia trip, to be honest. Joycey's coming back to the desk. We've got Impress coming back. I don't know if it was directly related to the game, but he hasn't touched Season 5 since it's been on F1 2021. He's coming back. There's a lot to unpack, to be honest. So I think Impress and Hodgson together, they are two veteran drivers. They've been around the league a long time. Don't think they've ever been in a team together. And I think they're going to be like oil and water in the tactics. I think Impress is going to be really impulsive. Hodge is going to try and be really calm. And when it gets really stressful in the middle of a race and they're talking about strategy, they don't seem like the kind of guys who will gel together and do well in a team. But I'm ready to be proven wrong. They're not like me and Joycey.
Yeah.
No, not at all. And let's be honest, if I'm on Impress's team, I'm definitely ramming him off the track. Oh no way. That might be you, Sandro. Sorry.
No, hang on. No, he had a puncture. He was definitely a puncture. Even though the video reviews didn't find it, he definitely had one.
Definitely a puncher. Sorry.
Yeah, Joyce, I don't know if you saw yesterday's stream where Hodgson and Impress already had a little bit of a clash where Impress was not really impressed of what Hodgson said. So this will be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely seems like it's going to be the case of Hodgson trying to almost have him on a leash, not in a disrespectful way. Him being the captain, he needs to have him under control. But Impress, he's coming back. He wants to show what he's got. He likes 2020. He can race. He's good. He can do good performances. And so he's going to be quick out the pits. He's going to be wanting to smash in, get in there. And sadly, we don't want to see the wrong kind of smashing.
Yeah, that is true. But it will be interesting in one case because Hodgson is known for not having a lot of, let's say, good strategy calls. And with Impress in the call, will Hodgson listen to Impress when Impress actually has a big brain idea? What do you think, Joycey?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think Impress would understand. I'm fairly sure they did race together very briefly because of Ferrari. So I'm fairly sure they have been on a team together before. And I'm hoping he understands that Hodge has a whole host of experience. He has good knowledge. Maybe it could be a really good match together, like a dream come true.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Same question to you, Craden. What do you think?
Yeah, to be honest, it's a bit embarrassing because we talked in yesterday's stream about the Ferrari sort of Giga comp in Season 4. We had about 6 drivers. And yeah, Impress and Hodgson were part of it. So while they haven't had the the two-man team that, let's say, me and Hodge have had, they've been in the same ensemble. They know how they're going to perform. I still don't see them maybe getting the sort of synergy that good teams have had in this first race. But with Hodge making Haas a long-time project, he's really interested in joining a team that he likes in real life. I really want to see more of Impress. He's a cool guy. I love him, and I love him on the racetrack. So I do want to see both of them racing more. If it's in the same team, then that can only be brilliant. It's great to see two veteran drivers in the same two-man team. That it's a bit of a shake-up. I don't think it'll start well with race one, though.
Fair enough. But I mean, while these two drivers will probably mix up somewhere in the midfield something, we have something very interesting because, as you guys know, today is 100th Grand Prix, but Travis will actually miss out on the qualifying today, meaning that Sunny, who is a direct competitor of his and currently 1 point above Travis in the championship battle, will have an easier time than Travis will have in a race, because Travis obviously will probably then start last. That was an interesting sentence. So what do you guys think? But actually, what I forgot to say, Travis is known for always also liking to do the comeback races where he spins and then suddenly he finds himself in the top 3 again. Will there be something similar today? Crichton, you go first.
Yeah, I think qualifying is a big deal, especially at Silverstone. We talked on the special 100th anniversary stream yesterday. We said that it's probably less likely we see as many safety cars on 20 as we do on 21. Actually, looking back to when we did this race earlier in the season in round 10, so 8 races ago, qualifying mattered a lot. Sonny won the race after qualifying in pole. Of the top 8 drivers, the top 6 qualified in the top half and stayed in the top half in classification. There were only 2 drivers that managed to jump from the bottom half to the top half. One was Carlos, and one was his teammate who's just asked me that question. So it's very difficult to jump from the back to the front, especially at Silverstone. There's going to be lots of pace. I don't see too many safety cars. Trav has got a big task on his hands to overcome that disadvantage.
Yeah, I agree on that. Joycey, what is your take on that? With a lot of carnage in the middle, is Travis caught up in that?
I mean, Silverstone is known for being quite a good racing track. People like to race on it. I know Trav especially really enjoys the track. It's not ideal for him missing qualifying, and I know there's some IRL stuff come up, which has to come first. But yeah, especially when it's going to be such a prestigious race. We're going to talk about this for time and time again in the future, I'd hope. And I think a lot of people are going to want to perform today, especially with the old game coming back. It's going to be the sort of the atmosphere where you're going to expect some of the lesser drivers to really pull it out. And who knows? We don't know what people like Gabe and like on this game. We haven't seen them in VL doing this. So Trav to start at the back during all that, it's not ideal. He's got the quality, can get there, but realistically, he needs to really, really show up, play out the bag, get some early overtakes, avoid any collisions, and get going.
Yeah, and actually that's a good take. We haven't seen a lot of drivers in 2020 as the likes of Gabe and Zydox. I don't know, Sunny, we have seen him. I'm not sure about Maka. So that will be interesting because 2020 handles a little bit different and there is no floor damage. So some drivers, as I said yesterday, will probably even like to race a little bit harder as there's no consequence to it anymore. So that will be probably interesting to see how they will go and fight about that one. So now a different interesting question. We've talked about the top half, middle half, the bottom half. Who do we expect at the bottom half now? Because with 19 drivers in qualifying and everything, and I assume most of the drivers practiced it because it's the 100th Grand Prix at Silverstone. As Joyce already pointed out, a lot of drivers like this track. Everyone practiced. I think the gap between the drivers is very, very close. But who do you guys think the bottom 5 will be, or 4 now that Travis can't do qualifying, sadly? Joyce, do you want to go first?
Oh, bottom 5. I mean,
are we talking qualifying or are we talking like in the race?
yeah.
It's 2 different things, really.
Yeah, no, let's start with qualifying first because that's the first one coming up.
Okay, so I mean, it's tough because I honestly think people are going to really show up today, and I'm hoping qualifying is really exciting. I'm gonna go and say Impress just to throw a little bit in the mix. I think he'll finish a lot higher than the bottom, but I think in qualifying, I think he might have a little bit of a stumble. Um, I'm also going to say Law, Franklin. I don't really know. Again, it's difficult, but yeah, we'll go with them to start with. I think.
Yeah, I think on top of that one, Joycey, as well, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say Blaze. He's the racing director. Last time when he was here in Silverstone, it was the 2021 model that he's notably hated, but he didn't really get anywhere in qualifying and then retired in the race. So he hasn't really put in the practice this week as well, though I've seen from a lot of other drivers. The time trial on the game has been lit up, so people like Sonny are really putting in laps. Blaze hasn't really done that. He's had his own share of streaming and IRL work, so I think that'll stand him in bad stead. I don't see him getting into Q2, which is quite a hot take considering the veterancy he's had.
I like that very, very much. Well, with all of these takes now, I heard that the drivers are ready for qualifying. So I will hand it over to you guys with the qualifying, and let's see how close you were with the guesses and who's will dropping out and who will get pole position in the 100th Grand Prix.
We're done with all the preamble. We're ready to look at the track. A beautiful day here in Silverstone, in England. The British Grand Prix revisited for the second time this season. We did it in round 10. We're doing it again for the 100th anniversary. What an amazing milestone. And what, not many better places to have it, to be honest. A historic track. Only 26 laps today, 18 turns, a lot of corners very memorable by the names. Maggots and Beckett's always fearsome. The Hanger Straight, always a great place to overtake on. There's always room to get disqualified for corner cutting around Stoke Corner. There's going to be quite a few flashpoints. A lot of our drivers really love this track, and I think it's well loved in the world of motorsport as well. Full grid of 20 is going to be fantastic, so we're going to see a full width and breadth of field fighting from the top to the bottom. It's going to be glorious. Of course, I'm here with Joycey and Sandro to continue our coverage. Joycey, how are you feeling? Well, you've been away from F1 for a while. How hyped are you?
I'm very hyped, and I just want to point out this will be the first time commentating on Silverstone with the official Hamilton Straight being in play. That's for me. Right, I don't know if we did it in the 21 version, but it's obviously a memorable thing now. He's been named. But you're definitely right. There's lots of good corners here. Cops is an incredibly good corner to talk about. Maggots and Beckett's, as you named. After Chapel, Hanger Straight. What a memorable track. What a great track. What a fantastic place to be doing our 100th/102nd race.
Yeah. One of the things I was saying pre-race, we were preparing with, and I was talking to Pyro about the different tracks, and we laughed because one of the memorable things about Silverstone is it has corner names. Sounds weird at first, we give names to corners, of course we do. But because Silverstone has so much history, lots of people know about the different corners, different places to overtake. It doesn't have the soullessness of a lot of the newer Tilkedromes. It doesn't have like we're going around turn 4, this is turn 11, we've got a complex at turn 18. Everyone knows the history of Farm, Cops, Stowe, Luffield, Woodcut. Loads of changes to the track around the airfield over the course of history. Now, we've got 3 drivers already served with super license penalties. So Hodgson, Scott, and Law are going to have to retire at the start of Q1. Now, Pyro, how do you think that'll affect people competing in Q1, knowing that there are only 2 people being eliminated instead of 5?
I mean, the top half of the drivers will probably say, okay, I'm just gonna put in one banger lap and then save the tires and probably just chill. The others are either probably gonna pull in a Hodgson and just get some track practice, or I mean, probably say, yeah, I got this as well. I think the 2 that will drop out will be very surprised when they find out they will drop out. Depends on who it is. They might as well drop out by only a couple of tens or a couple of hundreds, who knows?
Yeah, it looks very close indeed. Yeah, we've got a lot of competition here today. We're going to see the drivers start to put in their first times in a few minutes now. Yeah, Joycey, looking at Q1, how do you think our drivers will change their approach? Will they be going for the fastest time? Will they go for banker laps? Do you think there'll be any changes to the tyre strategy for our drivers?
Well, it's going to be one of those that's going to be quite reserved now that it's 3 out. I didn't realise that there was super license points to be served. 2 spots means that, you know, there's 17 drivers for those 2 spots. You've got a little bit of space. You can potentially do the bank laps, get the runs in, and not have to stress too much. Especially if you're a driver. Wait, is that Trav's here? Trav's in Q1.
He's made it. Yeah, he must have like driven the bus at the speed of a Formula 1 car.
So, especially if you're someone like Trav or Tram and Nerd, where you've got a lot of experience in this game on this track, that you could potentially not have to stretch yourself to the extremes.
Fantastic. Yeah, we are already seeing a couple of our drivers get yellow flags, go past each other, and we're already seeing those glorious invalidations. Let's see if we can follow Calm. He's the prodigal son, most successful driver. Pyro, if you get a look at Calm here in the Mercedes, just talk through the sort of things he's doing and how he's approaching the corners on this lap.
As we all know, Calm is an alien, and he does every corner perfectly, and he's the Hamilton of this track, of our VL league, so this fits perfectly. And as we can see, he's just doing the perfect racing line. I think not even the racing line is as perfect as Calm lines are he's taking. So, and as you said, I sadly don't know the corner name, so I just do as you did. He's approaching corners. Very good.
Big right, big left will do.
Yes, I only know that this is Beckett and Meggett, I think.
Hey, you got it.
Hey. And as we can see, just like the Mercedes last year, driving on rails, Calm showing that he knows his racing line, he knows how to drive this track perfectly. And oh my god, if this is not the banger lap, then I don't know.
Yeah, he's got the soft tyres on. Obviously, that's the softest compound. It's the one with the quickest pace. We can see from the way he's been driving around the track, he's been hitting a lot of apexes. He's going to come across the line. And to be honest, that's a slower time than I expected. It's still several seconds off our leaders, who are in the glorious Racing Point pink, given that we're moving back from 2021 to 2020. No more Aston Martin for Sonny and Zydox, but they're still going to be as confident as they were on the newer game that we used in the last few races. Okay,
Yeah.
do we see anyone who you want to particularly look at in this Q1 session?
I mean, we're currently following Brandon just to see how he does. As you mentioned, somebody who struggled quite recently on an albeit different game build. However, he needs to put it in. What I do want to point out, though, is currently the 1-2 are the essential newbies to 2020 VL. Like, again, talking about the game builds. They've got some really good pace in there, beating some of the really good drivers, Sonny, Trav, Calm, and they're the essentially the newbies. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they perform on this game. Are they going to stack up with the Giants? Are they going to go toe-to-toe? Are they going to be able to take them on?
Yeah, it's a nice battle, and we do actually see Charmander with a retirement there, but it is in the box. There isn't like a strewn Red Bull on the track like we saw in real life Bahrain, #spoilers. But we've got Blaze coming around Cops, and he's going to have a nice go at Maggots and Beckett's here. Really hard to judge on the times at the moment. Com got a fastest Sector 2, he lit it up purple, but Blaze has done the opposite, he's lit it up red with an invalidation going around Beckett's there. I can tell you from experience, that's the most demanding cornering on the track, because you have to quickly change to alternate left and right going around 3 apexes. And I believe the standard move is to gear down from 8th going in to either 5th or 6th as you leave the complex.
Some really technical talk there. However, let's throw it to a bit of a historic talk. So we've talked a lot about the track, a lot about the circuit. It's got so much history built into it. It's 70 years of racing. 1950 was the first inaugural race here in Britain, in Silverstone. And what a place! Like, people have been for, and they go year in, year out. It's such an occasion. And I don't know, I love Silverstone so much. And we just see Crispy invalidate as I keep blabbering on.
He was probably distracted by the glorious history of Silverstone, to be honest. We're doing the Sebastian Vettel thing on Grill the Grid, and we're going back to every World Championship. Blaze actually talked to me before the broadcast and told me that even amidst the confusion of what was a World Championship back then, Silverstone was normally the first round of a lot of those motorsport events. It was the first round of the 1950 World Championship, as you said. So it was really a premier track. It's got the heritage of tracks like Monaco, which appear in the circuit despite being objectively bad. And yeah, that the fact that Silverstone's in the same league really puts it in an elite group. Now, Pyro, your boys in Ferrari aren't doing too hot at the bottom. Maka and Glenn yet to set a lap. We've got Maka coming around his outlap at the moment. Do we reckon that Project Ferrari will be doing well, especially with Gaben moving to a senior seat?
Well, I see Gaben already putting in good times. And I have to say, even though I'm a Ferrari fan at heart, I am the team captain of McLaren. So during these, my heart beats for McLaren. You know? Even if it hurts saying it right now, and I hope my dad doesn't hear me, else he will beat me up. But yeah, I'm really curious what on their mind, and to see what Maka and Glenn are up to. Especially Glenn still because he's still in the pits. I don't know what he's doing. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, we've got Crispy coming through. He's yet to set a time. Crispy normally well up into the top 10, normally regularly competing in Q3. He's on the medium tyres. He's done this a few times, to be honest, guys, in the last few races. And he's set a time that's very much up there in the top 10. Because of Q2 being a tyre strategy battle, what Crispy sometimes does is he sometimes goes on softs in Q2 and just uses the mediums in Q1 to get into the top 15. He's certainly well into there this time. I don't know why he's gone for it, but he is certainly a trailblazer. Joycey, do you think that's what he's trying to do? Is he just trying to plan not to use the mediums in Q2, or do you think it's a bit of a technical one?
Maybe he's just trying to get a little bit of practice on them. He's obviously a good driver. Get a little bit of that early practice in. Get in, change the tyres on the softs, but then slow down so he doesn't set the soft. Oh no, it's Q1, sorry. So maybe just getting that little bit of a banker lap in. But as you say, he's competitive with the other racers who I presume are on softs. So, really good time.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that Sumther and Crispy are so good, it really brings into focus that sort of project difficulty that Mercedes have. It's a really good problem for race director and project captain Blaze to have, because with Blaze and Calm being the senior team, Blaze must drive in the senior team as the captain. It would take a very brave or foolish person to leave Calm out of the senior team, which means that Sumther and Crispy, who are top 10 drivers, Crispy's third in the Drivers' Championship, they're being relegated to a junior team, so we might end up with an Alfa Romeo Ferrari situation where the junior team outscores the senior one. I mean, Maka's doing that at the top for Alfa Romeo. Pyro, what are we thinking with how McLaren are going to stack up? Carlos is already putting in some good times. Do you think Scott can come back from having to leave in Q1? Do you think he'll stack up in the race?
No, you know why? Because I got an interesting message to read saying we're driving unbalanced setup, so that suspects that Scott forgot to put out his setup. before retiring. So I am already not very happy, but we'll see. Maybe that will work some wonders and maybe he won't retire. Who knows? No, I have high hopes for Carlos and it looks good. So far, if that is the times similar to Q3, looks like he might do and reach P10. Let's see, I hope only the best. I hope for top 5, but I don't want to charge in too high because I know my drivers.
Yeah, well said. We've got a lot more to see from Scott, but not in qualifying. With us going into the last 5 minutes of Q1, we start to look at who's in line for the drop, alongside Moore, Hodge, and Scott. Joycey, who's looking at risk at the moment?
I mean, Charman with that early retirement really could see like he's a little bit, I don't know, premature. You think you've got Impress, Calm, Trav, Brandon, Glenn, all below him, but all of them should be setting good times. Like, these are good drivers. Especially look at Calm and Travis. Like, these are race winners. These are championship winners. These people could really set some good times. And Charman being in 12th is a bit at the risk.
Yeah, I'm surprised at Calm. Like, as much as he was a meme feature on the 4-hour stream we did yesterday when he was on the 2021 engine, all previous games were his stomping ground. Calm is very into the mind games. I really love the guy. And it would be exactly a Calm thing to do, to absolutely sandbag for 13 minutes and then come out with the best lap ever. But it's like Mercedes in real life. After a while, you start thinking, wait, has he not put time into this yet? Is this not the same Calm that we're seeing regularly go to time trial and perfect his braking points and turning points? You're right, Tracy, he's very much at risk, and Trav, he might still have one leg in the bus at the moment. Glenn, who is a multiple podium sitter, he's one of the most veteran drivers. Not quite a championship winning material yet, but he's scored, I think, 3rd and 4th in Drivers' Championships. He's not set a single time yet, and I think he's had a couple laps, none on this tyre yet, but hasn't managed to set anything, and that means he's invalidated a couple times. It could be interesting to watch him, so I think we'll spot him as he goes up to the line. He needs to put everything down to get into the top 15, but he can't risk invalidating again. Joycey, as we look around Glenn doing these first few corners, is there anything that we can sort of see from his driving style? Is he looking very on the edge? Is he looking more reserved?
Well, what I do wonder about Glenn is just how busy has he been recently. You talk about the Calm not putting the practice in, maybe, obviously he might have. Has Glenn had the time? Has Glenn put the practice in? Because you think back, all the way back to, I think it was season 3, the difference between Glenn having practice and Glenn not having practice is he's usually around 10 to 15 places in the grid. From a back marker to someone who's competing top 5, that a little bit of practice, that extra time he can put in, could really change how he drives. Going back a game model could really affect him, and as you say, maybe that's why he's invalidated. He's got a lot of ERS in the tank. He's going around corners that he really should flat out on, and it worries me that he's still up on the 80% when realistically he should be putting that through. We'll see as he goes over Magus and Beckett if he can keep control, as you say, with a little bit of a spin. Oh, can he keep it? Oh, well, I thought he was going to lose it there, but he managed to keep it online. Purple sector 2 with that as well, that wobble. So it could be a really good time here. Just needs to keep it nice and tight on the 3rd sector.
Yeah, doing really well so far. Purple sector 2 is a massive vote of confidence, although we have seen that bug a few times, so let's wait to see what the final time is. He needs something on the board. He hasn't invalidated, which is a big plus, but he really needs like a 126 to make himself safe. He's done that, and he's done more. He's put himself 3rd in his project, he's put himself ahead of Franklin, and most importantly for Q1 with 2 minutes left, he's well clear of that danger zone that now includes Calm and Travis. Between them, 3 World Drivers' Championships.
So okay. You see Trav and Brandon on track. Calm's still in the pits, I think. So maybe he's just resigned to staying in.
I wonder if Calm's doing a last to first challenge. I can't get my head out of the sandbagging possibility.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It's definitely within his character to do that kind of maneuver. We are following Trav on these outlap. What can Trav bring to the table, Calm? Tried him.
Yeah, Trav is Mr. Consistent for me. We saw that he was there from race 1. He brings a wealth of setup knowledge. He knows his limits very well. Like Flyer, he's a student of the esport. He knows his setups, adapts them. He's a cool head. He micro tilts, so he's only angry for 1.5 seconds at maximum. So he's very good at making a mistake only once and then refining his approach. So the fact that he's now 7 seconds from safety really suggests to me he hasn't had a good go, or he's been distracted by things at home, just getting back from the buses. On his outlap at the moment, so we won't see a competitive time yet, but we already are seeing him do really well around these apexes. Pyro, you've been in the Red Bull team with Trav. How does he shape up amongst your teammates that you've had?
I mean, he's the one teammate you want to have. He, even while he's racing, he can give out so many good strategy calls. He gives off that calm vibe, even if something goes wrong. Even if something goes wrong for himself, like you said earlier, with his micro tilts, he tilts for half a second and he's alright, and then asks if you're doing alright, and then even helps you if you're not doing so well. So he's the definition of the best teammate you can ask for.
Well, let's see if he puts up the performances to match his mercurial temperament and his ever-reliable skills in the game. We've got a yellow flag ahead as we see the McLaren of Carlos on his 7th lap on this set of tyres going invalid. But moving back to Trav, we are seeing him go around Luffield and getting a really nice exit there, going just to the outside, putting on the acceleration at the right time. Travis is in the drop zone at the moment. This is his final lap. He's the only driver realistically competing for a time, with Franklin going 6 seconds up into the final sector. So all eyes on our boy in Red Bull. It looks like it's confirmed that Calm won't be in Q2. We're hearing that he had a technical issue. So we're set for a last to first challenge from our 2-time World Drivers' Champion. Travis is coming down the hanger straight now, putting everything in the DRS and in the ERS battery system. He's almost in a position to get a toe off Carlos, and Carlos is considering whether he wants revenge on Trav, but nope. Our Season 2 World Drivers' Champion is going to come around 1:26 on the clock. He's going to be way too slow here, guys. He's not going to be able to get into Q2.
Question,
So-
can this be a bot? I have a feeling.
Maybe he didn't actually make it to qualify, he needed to set it up.
I mean, because I think if you're joining the leagues, you can't disable the one that joined to go out, and maybe this is a bot putting in the time.
Yeah, that would make sense. All I can say is those times are not Travis to me, much like Calm's times are not Calm. So we'll have to see if they can get back to their normal selves. It's like someone else has just loaded up F1 for the first time, jumped into the VL League, or like Calm's got like a 6-year-old brother he hasn't told us about, and the controller's gone his way.
Okay, news just in, Trav is an AI bot.
Fantastic. Okay, in which case I can see that affecting the race and getting maybe a new lobby set up, but we'll touch back on that one later.
Yeah, so what an exciting thing we have already in Q1. It's been officially confirmed that we're going to have Calm and Trav racing from the back. As you pointed out, the pedigree these two drivers bring to VLF1 is historic within itself. It's so monumentous. So for them two to be right near the back competing, you'd expect these to be competing for the title, like the win. Never mind points.
Not slowest time in Q1. Like,
Yeah.
I think Pyro, you asked us before the race who would be in the bottom 5. I bet you didn't expect that one either.
Yeah, true. Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
So we're now set to go to trackside again. We are in the second qualifying session, Q2, 15 minutes. And what we're going to see here is our 15 remaining drivers go toe-to-toe for the second time. And by the end, they'll be whittled down to 10. Joycey, do you want to go through the added quirk that is our tyre strategy calls in Q2?
Absolutely, yes. So, although in real life I believe this has now been changed, I found that out this morning, how it works in this game and how it'll work for the rest of our season is whatever time you set in Q2, whichever the fastest tyre you use, they are the tyres that you have to start on if you finish in the top 10. If you don't finish in the top 10, you'll have free tyre choice, so whichever tyre you prefer. However, what tends to happen is you'll have more experienced drivers go out on their optimal strategy tyre, often a medium, and then towards the end of the session, the drivers that are starting to panic will put on the softs, give it the boot, see how fast they can get around to try and get into Q3, which then leads them on the race in the softs.
An interesting byproduct of that for Project Mercedes as well Blaze and Crispy have a super license penalty each, which means if they get through this Q2 session in the top 10, they will then have to leave at the start of Q3, meaning that they'll be on the 5th row in P9 and P10 for the Grand Prix. So they might be in the awkward position of having their tyres locked in Q2 and then having to start 9th and 10th ahead of someone in P11 who has free tyre choice.
Yeah.
I must admit, I'm not too familiar with the tyre choice for the actual race. I've done the 25% version a few times, but I believe I've seen medium hard done in the 50% version. We could also see soft hard. Travis will make soft medium work, but we've got a lot to discover. Either way, it's not great to have your tyres locked when free choice is great.
I think this sorry to cut in. I think the strategy will be medium soft. That's just my hunch.
It
One
certainly
stop,
makes
medium soft.
sense. I mean, it works on a lot of our tracks. Silverstone has a lot of tyre wear, particularly in Maggots and Beckett's, but there's a lot more straights than in other tracks. We raced Saudi Arabia last week. There's a lot of tough corners. There's a lot of lateral force. You don't see it as much in Silverstone, so I can see soft medium wear again. Okay, Pyro, anyone you want to watch this time? Shall we see how your boy in orange does, Carlos?
As soon as he goes out,
We're
I
actually
like
looking at Sunny at the moment, so let's have a quick gander. Sunny is the one to watch, by the way. He is the time trial leader at the moment on VLF1's leaderboard in the F1 2020 game engine. We actually did a 50% last night, like sweaty nerds. Sunny was there, Maka was there from Ferrari. We had Franklin as well. We had Glenn join in, so almost all of Project Ferrari there. And Sunny was so fast, it hurt. He was like a second clear of everyone in qualifying, and if not for an incident when we all tried booting out Lewis Hamilton bot, Sunny would have clearly won the race. So he's got fearsome pace around this track. He's already setting the fastest time, 1:24.8. I'm going to quickly have a look at the Q1 times and see that would have got second place. Zydox was 1:24.7 in Q1, so very, very close.
Awkward silence.
We're just in awe of Sunny's skills, or rather, we're now moving to our boy in Haas and now seeing an invalidation.
Yeah. Oh, Mac with the big wobble there right at the end, but he just managed to set a 1:27 almost flat. Not sure that's going to be a super competitive time towards the top of the top 10, but we will see. On with Brandon, who's invalidated, sadly.
Yeah. We've got Charmander coming up to the line, and he's going to set a 1:26.3, so he's going to keep going. I want to see who else is on the mediums, because that seems to be the tyre choice for our drivers, just bank a lap on mediums, and then going out on the softs later. Crispy went mediums in Q1, so he's still in the pits, soft tyres equipped. Glenn is going fairly quickly at the moment. He's going around Sector 1, but a lot more to come from him, I'm sure.
Yeah, on with Monty coming round the final corners now, looking to set his time. He's looking okay. Get that boot down. Can he get a 1:26? He does get a 1:26.8. So not terrible. Could have been better, but not a terrible time at all.
Yeah, following him up, Josie, is Franklin. So Maka's project teammate in Constructor Alfa Romeo. He's going to be just slower than his previous time by 400ths. So he's going to slot in very closely with a 1:27.0. Another frequent user of time trial there.
Mr. Bopper coming round with a 1:25.9. That puts him right into P2 currently. It's a good time there from Shadow.
And let's check out our boy Impress. Obviously, we haven't seen him for the best part of a season. He's going to come in with our slowest time at the moment and the soft tyres. So you can see there's work to be done. He was, I believe, 15th in Q1. So this is where he's under real pressure to get into that top 10. I think we'll be seeing him continue with the soft compound for the rest of the session.
Yeah, absolutely. He's trying to give himself the biggest edge he can to get through. Brandon with a 1:26.6, putting him into 6th position ahead of Monty. So we still have a few drivers yet to set times. Copy, out of the bottom 5, who are you most surprised that haven't set a time yet?
Zydox, because I thought as just as Sunny, he wanted to get in a lap as quickly as possible. And Gaben as well, but I think Gaben is out there right now. Yeah, I'm validated. Okay. Will be interesting because I feel like these two are the only one able to contest Sunny, because right now Shadow Hopper even on soft is still a second down on Sunny's time, and they haven't set a lap yet, so I'm very surprised about that.
Yeah, completely crazy. And Charmander's doing the strategy again, Joycey. He's left early from the session. 8 minutes to go in Q2. Not even half the session has been done yet. He's set 1 lap on mediums and he's done. Is he actually the greatest gambler VL F1 has ever seen?
Just seems a little bit risky for me. So you caught me eating carrots and cowbell, and I'm all like, you know. But you've got Gaben, you've got Zydox. These two show that they have pace in abundance. Gaben's sitting at purple sector 1 on his hot lap. So to retire when you're in P6, like the time's alright. It's not amazing. You certainly start to put yourself in a little bit of risk, and I understand that some of the other drivers might not got to beat that time. Even starting around P8, it's still not been great for Brown. It's not going to be great for Charmander. So it does surprise me that he's done this on both qualifying sessions.
Yeah, he's done it in races recently as well. He's got a very laissez-faire attitude, and has just. He says when he's asked about it for previous races, why he's left earlier, why he hasn't just kept on to the end in case things change. He's just gone with the I do GAF attitude. He's not too bothered about what happens. I think he's very okay with starting outside the top 10. He's very confident in his last to first abilities. He's not quite the Charmander of, say, Season 3, but he's confident in his skills and his pace and his strategy that he'll be able to overcome that. But
I hope he really is confident, because we have just seen within the last 20 seconds Miffy and Gaben going into, Miffy into P2, then Gaben hopping him into P2. Charmander in P8, Zydox not set a time yet, Crispy not set a time yet. These are two drivers that could put Charmander in P10.
Oh, we've just had a shout from the Mercedes garage. Blaze has equipped the soft tyres, so he'll be going out soon. He was 3/10 off of Charmander, who we've got to see as a right target for the drop zone with the early quit. I can see Blaze improving.
1 second, Cradden. Yeah, cheers, Toto, for the information, mate. Thank you. Yeah, I'll just let him know. Cheers.
Yeah, all good. Apparently, it is a motor race. We need to tell the race directors that. I'm sure that's been done to death. But yeah, Zydox and Crispy still to go. Let's have a look at where they are on the track. Zydox on the Hangar Street at the moment, so he's the furthest in. Let's see how he does in the pink of the Racing Point. I've got good memories from it myself. That was part of my best season in Formula 1, being with Rock, Blaze and Calm. But enough about my glorious past and onto Zydox's glorious future.
Yeah.
He's coming around the quad corner.
Can we focus on Zydox and not on your pink history, please? Zydox with a P3, pushing Charmander down into P9, by the way. Just to keep banging on that drum. But yeah, I must admit, the pink being back in F1 as Crispy's coming around the final corner, definitely an exciting thing. I love the pink, the Racing Point. Crispy in P2, as I said, putting Charmander into P10. And his IDGAF attitude might really catch up with him today.
Yeah, he's going to have at least a 12-minute break to reflect on it, but you know what? That might play into his hand. He's going to have the free tyre choice, assuming we get one more. That was an interesting toe we just saw there from Maka. He was going down the Hangar straight. Gaben was just in front of him. Normally a toe is more measured and involves the slight differentials of speed. Gaben was almost an anchor on the track in front of him, and Maka had to dodge. I don't actually think that was good for him. He was about a 10th down. Let's see if it matters by the time we get to the line. Really nice Sector 3. He's in P5, medium tyres, and Charmander Nerd is out of Q2.
There we go.
I've heard also from the garage that Charmander's game put him on preset 3 as well. So that will be interesting.
You'll love to see it. And especially when you leave the garage for the first time, you can't then change. You have to wonder.
1 sec. Yeah, thanks, Christian, for that information, mate. Cheers. Just letting the garage know that we appreciate you know.
Yeah, we used to Toto and Christian just talking to each other basically on national TV through the race director anyway, so we've just got a bit more of that. Crispy has equipped the soft tyres. I think he's having a go here. I would have said that he was safe, but of course his previous time would have been on the softs. He's just going to beat his time again. Or I think he's just given Blaze the toe. He was just giving Blaze the toe down Hangar Straight. That's race director privilege right there. Although that was Blaze's outlap, so Mercedes logic, AFK.
So Crispy, oh no, he's going back in the pits. I was going to say maybe he's just going to get a feel for the track on the softs, ready for Q3, knowing that he's pretty much safe now. However, he is in the pits, so you know, who am I?
Okay, so Carlos is on his outlap at the moment. Our drivers have the best part of 4 minutes to go and set a time that will guarantee them in the top 10, Charmander aside. In the drop zone at the moment, we have Charmander, who is confirmed. Belize, Carlos, Franklin, and Impress occupy the other spots at the moment. Honestly, Impress has really struggled to form in these 2 quali sessions, so I can't see him improving that much. He's on his outlap anyway. His bro from the same mode, Carlos, is going on the track at the same time. He's on his outlap, and in about a minute, we're going to see him stop to put time on the board for McLaren. Blaze and Franklin going around at the moment, and there's Blaze invalidating going into Maggots and Beckett. Franklin could be a good shout, though. We've got 1.2 seconds. This is really good. Pyro, what are we thinking from Franklin here? Can he do it?
If he doesn't invalidate, I hope he does it. I would love him shaking up the top half.
Yeah, we talked in the Prix show a few times, Law and Franklin. It would have been great to see them further up, Law with the super license, of course.
Yeah, unlucky for him. Oh, P5, not bad.
Yeah, shout out to Project Ferrari, by the way. So they've got Gaben in 3, Franklin in 5, Maka in 6, and then Johnny Bignose down in P10 at the risk of being eliminated. Blaze is not setting anything competitive at the moment. Hashtag Project Captains. So we have a look at the Salzburger brothers. Impress is on par with his current time. So let's have a look at Carlos at the moment. He's going around, he's past Abbey, he's going through the farm section at the moment. I want to see how he handles this lap, because he's got about half a second to make up to the drop zone. Glenn and Somther at risk right now.
I'm very surprised Samta is so far down the list on soft. I expected a little bit more, but maybe 2020 isn't his game either. Or the game fucked him over as well and put him on preset 3, who knows?
Yeah, so we're getting people who couldn't control their car and people who are on preset 3. It's a bit early to call Cody's going to complete trash, but we've had our issues through the years. It's worth saying that in the bottom half of the field, from Somther in P9 all the way down to Carlos in P14, Charmander aside, they've had their best times on mediums so far, but they are on softs for this final shootout now. Carlos with a really nice exit there coming out of Maggots and Beckett's. He is 0.6 better than his current time. At the moment, that'll move him safe into the top 10. Glenn already on his outlap, so things could really heat up into the final minute of Q2. We'll see what Carlos does.
I thought it was called Johnny.
Yeah, Johnny with a certain surname at least. Carlos coming around the final corner now. Best part of 126. He's in P7. Great news for McLaren and my boy Pyro sitting next to me.
Get in there.
He watches Carlos jump into the top 10. Probable safety. Impress invalidated at the moment. He probably won't have another chance to set a lap. So Impress joining Charmander in the bin alongside Monty, who hasn't left the pits.
And Brandon also in the pit, so that confirms probably 4, maybe 4, have I counted that wrong? 4 of the bottom 5.
Yeah, it looks to be a battle between Glenn and Somther right now. Somther is in P10. He's in a very perilous position. He is doing a hot lap at the moment, so Miffy in the pits could be in danger. Somther and Glenn both on the softs, and this is their one chance for glory to get into that top 10. Worth saying also that Crispy and Blaze, should they get through to Q3, Blaze of course can't now, they have to leave. But right now, let's look at Glenn and the battle for qualification.
Yeah, Glenn whizzing around, going into Maggots and Beckett's. And get that pace down. He really needs to put pedal down, get there, as you talked about, gearing down into the correct shifts, getting a good exit here, get onto that hanger straight, plenty of pace down, get into Stowe, get around that bend, and hopefully carry it to good, powerful Sector 3.
4 tenths up, Glenn is at the moment. Somther, by the way, is 3 tenths up just behind him, so I can see Miffy getting dropped into P11. We'll see as Glenn goes around the final corner. Miffy and Charmander, both from Red Bull, could have miscalculated here. Glenn is going to cross the line, get into P7. He is safe. Will Somther displace Miffy and consign him to oblivion as we confirm our final 10? Somther just has to get around Club Corner. It's not the greatest of entries, but he's done enough. Miffy is going to get deposed. He thought mediums were enough, and much like his mate Charmander, they were proven wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Those gambles can really cost you. Lots of times coming at the last second. With that, we'll see Shadow trundling on into the pit lane. we have a sad port.
Yeah, press F to pay respects to our boys who are dropping at the Q2 stage. Yeah, Monty, I could see it happening. Impress, he was always fighting an uphill battle. Blaze, based on my pre-show prediction, he was lucky to get into Q2. Charmander and Miffy, I was very surprised. I thought Carlos and Franklin maybe would have dropped here. Of course, it's great news for those guys who have got into Q3. They've now got a bit more of an open field to go against, especially with Crispy having to retire. So it's a showdown of 9 drivers. It's going to be really fun to see how they interact. Let's just make sure we get everything confirmed on the scoreboards at the end of Q2. And yeah, 125.8. That was a fairly quick time. And that was the threshold for qualification. Carlos getting the last spot there. Okay, Pyro, give some predictions. Who's on pole today? Can Sonny be beaten, basically?
No. I mean, judging from the Q2 times, I don't think so. He did it on the mediums and was 4/10 up on Gaben. Gaben looks close, but I don't think so. I don't think Sonny can be beaten.
What about you, JC? Can anyone stop the finisher?
No, I mean, as you talked about his pace yesterday, he's an incredible driver when he gets his mind to it. We've often talked in the past about him being potentially erratic, but he looks bang on it today, and I think he's firmly in place for a podium start.
Okay, so with all pressure on Sonny, he seems to be the Iceman so far. He's delivered under all pressure in 50% in the championship so far, with coming off the back of 2 wins. He won here last when it was raced in round 10. All of the cards are in Sonny's hands as we move to F1 2020, and with him in the glorious pink of the Racing Point chassis. We're down to the business end now. This is the final 12 minutes of qualifying. Project Ferrari with a full complement of 4 drivers. Glenn and Gaben in Senior Ferrari going to lead out Mucker and Franklin in the Alfa Romeo. We're going to have Shadow Hopper coming out in Renault instead of the Alpine of 21. Somtha and Crispy are in Q3, Crispy leaving early due to super license, making sure that Mercedes has all of its representation in the junior team. Sonny and Zydox holding it down for Racing Point, aka Aston Martin. And then finally, we've got Carlos coming out in that glorious McLaren to Copy's Eternal Delight. We've got all of our drivers coming out to their outlap at the moment, with only 12 minutes and a fairly long track at Silverstone. Probably only got time for the 2 stints here. No need to mess about with tyre strategy. It's all about the softs. It's all about the low fuel. Just doing those last-minute adjustments to the wing. Okay, Joycey, who do we think we're going to follow here? Who are we expecting some good stuff from?
I mean, I'm hoping we see a little bit of fireworks at the top. Shadow's got some pace in him. Gabe and obviously Zydox. But my man Sonny, I think, will take the top spot. Hopefully, it's closer than we think. It's a straight shootout here, as you talked about. Top 9 essentially, with Crispy retiring. On the softs, who can go fastest? It really is just all about that machoism of who can get faster. How fast can we get around this circuit? How fast can we be? Can we be faster than everyone else?
Yeah, it's all about ultimate speed. This is the showdown. It's going to be everything at stake. Somtha actually the first one to start a time lapse, so I'm interested to see how he does. I'm actually looking at his progression as he goes round into farm production, looking at him right now. Cheers, my boy Stillbend. He's going to be going around left here and turning in at exactly the right point. Maybe could have taken a bit wider an exit, but he's coming around really well. The rainbow of Williams, will it be a pot of gold at the end of it, or will it be a really last-minute ditch effect at the end of Q2? Somtha looking really good here. Of course, the purple at the end of Q1 is automatic, with it being the first set time. He's going to come towards Cops, flooring it using all the ERS. As we saw with Glenn, Maggots and Beckett normally makes or breaks a driver's attempt at the circuit. Let's see how he goes around here. Apexes are critical. There's one, beautiful. Bit wide on the second one, and very wide on the third one. A double downshift, 7th to 5th. He won't be proud of that. And I think he's lost a good 3/4 tenths in that one.
Yeah, he definitely needed to be better.
Yeah, can he salvage something out of there though? The qualification threshold was 125.8, although to challenge Sonny you want to be getting the mid 124s, maybe even faster in this session. Something's going to come around Vale. Nice exit onto Club, great apex. 125.7 is good, but we know it could be so much better.
Yeah, and Sonny is hot on his tail with what looks to be a 124.2. Oh my word. What a time.
Yeah, absolutely massive diff. So Pyro, we've seen a few invalidations. Unlike a lot of 2021 games, we haven't actually... This could be a great commentator's curse. We haven't actually seen a crash. The only retirements we've seen have been in the pits. Are we expecting that to continue in the race? Do we think it'll be a bit safer? And is that just Silverstone? Or do we think it's the game of 2020?
No, I don't think in the race there will be no crash. That's impossible. We in VL. But it can be that this game allows a little bit more aggressiveness and less crashes, therefore. So I'm interested to see how this one shapes up. By the way, I wanted to say real quick, Sunny's time on softs is half a second faster than he did in Q2. And usually the soft tires gives you up to 1 second. So that might not even be the final form of Sunny.
Oh my god. 123 backhands. He definitely has the potential based on those calculations. We've seen our boy Glenn come around Club Corner. He's going to cross the line and get a time on the board. He's sitting between Shadowhopper and Franklin in P5. A lot of our drivers definitely in a position to improve. They're doing their second laps at the moment. It's actually an interesting call on strategy here. A couple of our drivers will make their first stint in 2 laps, and that will give them more room to do a final lap when they leave the pits for the last time. But what I like to do personally is wait to see how the first part of my second lap is, and then if it's a really good one, I finish the lap. If it isn't, I go into the pits and prepare. What are we thinking, Tracy? Are we going to see just a one-lap shootout later on?
Yeah, I think most people go more traditional route. I think that, as you talked about at the start, you get pretty much 2 good shots at this. I can't see many people different from that, although maybe 1 or 2. Yeah, I think towards the end of the session we're going to have 6, probably 7 drivers all just committing that last final shot to it.
And yeah, the best part of the end of qualifying is you can take that extra lap of fuel out. Normally you have to guarantee that you have enough fuel to get back round. In real life, of course, you would need to have that lap of fuel in the car. But in the game, you don't at all. The session ends as soon as you complete your fastest lap. Your car can just be trundling around on low fuel mode for all you care. So you can get that ultimate fresh softs, low fuel load, minimum weight, maximum response time, maximum track evolution, super lap out in those last 2 minutes of Q3. And it's great because most of our drivers will be doing that at exactly the same time. So it really brings the show down to an absolute head. Franklin is looking to bid for an increased time at the moment, but I don't think he has the ERS to keep it going all the way. We'll see what he does here. He is going for the line at this point.
Yeah, he stays out, ignores the pit lane. Must feel like it's a good lap.
Shaky on Vale, makes up for it in club, and it's better, but only by 100th. Doesn't shake up the board. Okay, Zydox. He's the man of the moment. With Crispy already out because of Super License, Zydox is our only man yet to set a time. He's going to be coming up to Maggots and Beckett's now, so comparing him to Somther, similar brilliant first corner. That's a perfect second corner there. And almost a perfect exit. I think it could have been done slightly better, and the fact that there was a blemish on the final corner is really unfortunate because it ruins his exit onto the long hanger straight, so it has much more of a measurable effect. We'll see if he goes to the line. He is going to. It looks like a fairly quick time, but only the boys at Timex or Rolex or whoever's doing the stopwatches. Blaze, who knocks off 2 seconds for his own time, maybe. And there he is. Zydox is going to be 2/10 off of Sunny. And Racing Point have got 2 drivers on those top 2 steps at the moment. It is theirs to lose.
Yeah, a pink 1-2 for the turnout. What an occasion it's going to be. We do see the Ferrari boys in 3 and 4. Well, the Project Ferrari rather, because we've got the Romeo. Shadow splitting the rest of the Ferraris. And then Somther, Carlos, and then Crispy taking the rear. Any changes in this? What do we think, Pyro?
Maybe Gaben. I hope Gaben. Because even though it's nice to see Racing Point 1 and 2, I feel like Gaben might spice things up. He's a little bit off the pace, but who knows. And I would love to see Franklin a little bit higher up there. And of course my boy Carlos, but well, he's still in the pits, so come on boy, you can do it.
Ooh, Somther taking a quick invalidation there. Yeah, it's really difficult to get that right-hander. Let's have a look at Carlos, who's still on his outlap. So still a while before we can get his time. It's Zydox is 3 seconds up. I was excited to see him maybe going for a competitive time, but this is almost certainly him going into the pits in preparation for a final tilt at the time. So a little bit of a lull in action here, as we see all our drivers either in the pits, on outlaps like Carlos, or like Somtha invalid and going into the pits again. It's set to be a real, I think it was Monza in 2019, when all of the drivers are waiting until the very last second that they can go, getting into a train for slipstream effect, and then trying to set times to beat the clock. Sonny is leaving the pits now, though, so we're going to see the start of that final exit, that final sort of stampede of drivers leaving the pits for the final lap in qualifying 3.
When is the latest you can go out on here? 1:45 around that?
That's probably the best shout. I normally take a lap time and then add about 30 seconds. So yeah, it's you never know until it happens. You've got to account for things like pit lane traffic. For example, if you're the Mercedes garage, you'll be furthest away from leaving the pit lane, whereas the Williams cars can leave earlier. But yeah, you have to beat the time, but also ensure you can get around the lap quickly enough. 1:45 is safe. We are seeing Project Ferrari come out in pairs here. We've got the 2 Ferraris. This is exactly the sort of Ferrari stuff I loved seeing in Season 4 when I was in the expanded roster. Glenn and Gaben are getting into slipstream mode. This is peak Q3 tow moment. As we see a yellow flag for Sonny as he's going really slowly around Woodcut Corner. I think he might be waiting for other drivers to overtake him and get that slipstream. What do we think, Joycey?
No, it just seems a little bit odd. He's on that lap, so he obviously doesn't. The time doesn't matter too much. You might be right. Maybe he's trying to get behind the Ferrari. Wants to join the 8-wheeled beast or make it a 12-wheeled beast. We'll see. Does he accelerate behind and chase them?
Oh, I thought he was totally going to go up to full speed then and try and get the toe off Ferrari. That would have been glorious. He might be doing the same with Zydox, to be honest, because he's got 1 minute 15. Zydox can probably get around the track. I think he's waiting for the toe off Zydox. Or even more accurately, I think he's confident that he can get pole. I think he wants to tow Zydox into P2. That's how I'm reading Sonny right now.
Yeah, potentially. Although, I think Zydox just skipped by him, so maybe not.
Yeah, I think that was Franklin, so Franklin may be getting in on Sonny's mind games. Sonny's in a really interesting position because with 45 seconds to go, he's going very slowly. He's not got much track left to work with. He's still got Shadow and Somtha to go past him. And almost doesn't have the time to go and tow out Zydox, but at this point, Sonny's either got to stop on track or go for the line, so whatever his tactic is, he's definitely occupied the stream for a minute without really accomplishing anything. He's not in a position to tow, he's just going full tilt, like, let me check, everyone is at this point. Carlos has had an incident, it's a yellow flag, he's off the track, so he won't be able to improve. Carlos in P9, 8 places remain to be decided. Pyro, how are we looking with the Project Ferrari boys?
To be fair, I didn't even think about that. I was so confused about what Sonny did.
I've got a theory on Sonny. I think maybe he had the perfect amount of fuel and he was just trudging along just to make sure he didn't use it.
Maybe tire wear as well. Because 1
Such a
or 2%. But it's still weird.
Okay, this is cool. Glenn is leading Gaben down the hanger straight, and Gaben is getting perfect slipstream here. Glenn has actually given up his lap here. He wants Gaben to get the best possible attempt here. Full-on selfless act here from the Ferrari project captain. Will it work, though? Gaben is coming towards the line. We'll have to look at all of these drivers as they go towards the line. This will be their final attempts. The clock is at 0. This is the midnight hour. They'll all be putting their final times on the board. Gaben improves, but not enough to get into that hallowed racing point 1-2.
Coming around now, again, very similar, doesn't improve enough. Maka next, doesn't improve enough.
Yeah, great times from all of these drivers, but they're not going to get that improvement. Sonny is coming through, high 123 on the board, and he is slower than his time by 500ths. Then again, his time was absolutely God-given. It was great. Somtha's going to be the next to cross the line in P8 at the moment. Can he displace anyone? Yes, he can. He's got above 2 Project Ferrari drivers, and he's now in P5 ahead of Shadow Hopper. Great time.
Zydox goes into the pits, happy that he's not going to get beating everyone else in the pits, I believe.
I think
That should
everyone,
from them. Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, so Racing Point, they looked ominous. They got a 1-2 early on in the session, and they made it count. That was fantastic. Sonny is... We all predicted it in the pre-show yesterday, before the broadcast today in the studio. At the beginning of basically each session, we said Sonny would be doing well. I honestly thought his margin of victory would be greater, such was his dominance of time trial. But maybe he's either had not an optimal lap, as Pyro theorized earlier, or maybe he's altered his setup so that it's better in the race, maybe a higher aerodynamic front wing angle. But yeah, he's got the 1 next to his name. That's all that matters. He's the pole sitter.
Indeed, and that takes us into our top 10. Do you want to run through it, Credham?
Yeah, let's do it. So it's going to be very like projects in the first few rows. Sunny and Zydox. We'll get the confirmation with the grid soon, but Sunny and Zydox are going to be at the top. We've got 4 Project Ferrari drivers in the mix. Row 2 is Gaben and Maka. Row 4 is Glenn and Franklin. Between them, we've got Somtha and Shadowhopper. Carlos and Crispy making up the back of that. Again, we'll have confirmation of that with the grid shortly. But yeah, it's some great showing from Racing Point. Ferrari got all 4 boys in that final qualifying session. And yeah, it's great news for them all. I think they're all about where they wanted to be. Pyro, any disappointments or any like overachievements for any of our drivers there?
Disappointments. Let's see. It looks like everything played out quite as expected. Just as early on, of course, Calm going out that early might have been a strategy. Who knows? Might have been him just trying to get back into the game. Like I said yesterday, I don't know if it's the same Calm as we used to see, because I don't know how much he practiced. So he's a little bit of a disappointment. And Charmander, I didn't expect him to go out as well that early. So let's see what they can do starting from the midfield.
Yeah, like Charmander's going to have a big task on his hands. Same with Travis and Calm, as you said. They are between them, they've got 3 championships. They're some of the best drivers. If you had to pick 2 drivers for your senior project team, Calm and Trav would be well in the mix. So the fact that they have to fight from the back after maybe an unfortunate technical issue is going to give us a really good race. Same with Charmander from a lesser position after crashing out of Q2, but apart from the crashing part.
It will be interesting because out of the top 10, we have Sunny on the medium starting, Gaben on the mediums, Zydox and Maka on the mediums. Everyone else inside the top 10 is starting on the softs. Meaning, usually the mediums are a little bit slow, especially at the start. So maybe there will be a change at the start. The likes of I don't know, Shadowhopper or maybe even Crispy. Even though he starts at the bottom, he might as well just at the start jump a few places and then threaten the likes of Gaben and Sunny in the front. Well, it might be interesting to see.
Yeah, that tire strategy battle is good. How are we thinking, Joycey? Do you still think it's a soft medium 1-stop? Have you seen anything to sort of persuade you the other way?
No, I think medium, soft, medium. I think people are going to be silly if they go to hards. Personally, again, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I've miscalculated, but I feel like a bit of tire management, probably a safety car, medium soft. That's going to be optimal. Obviously, you'd prefer to start on medium and then get a longer stint and then finish on the softs for the pace at the end with the track evolution. But you'll take the soft mediums if need be. The hards, losing so much time each lap, really will hurt you if everyone else is doing soft mediums and you try hard. Obviously, hard can work if you have an early incident or if you want to pit very early and go for a longer stint on the hards. But yeah, medium soft.
Makes sense. And also, Joycey, we talked with Pyro briefly earlier about the risk of incidents or safety cars. I haven't seen a crash apart from maybe a technical glitch at the end of qualifying there. We've seen a couple of drivers slide off onto the grass. We haven't really seen anything that would merit a safety car in qualifying. How are we set for turn 1? We've seen Blaze and Impress collide before. Do you think we're going to have any sort of huge collision, maybe a couple of doots either way? Or are we going to have something pretty clean in lap 1?
I mean, the 100th race, the special, the spectacle, I think it's only right that Glenn and Brandon are not selfish and just hate each other.
Yeah, that would certainly make sense, and it would be pretty unique because, never mind, no, wouldn't they hit each other every race anyway? We were getting a lot of clips for the pre-show yesterday, and Brandon says to Glenn occasionally, I keep this clip and I use it to reinforce my own opinion that Glenn's a really dangerous driver. And Brandon has kept a clip from season 3 Hungary where Glenn torpedoes Dan, who's driving just in front of Brandon. So that's just one example of the beef between them. Neither of them have won a race yet in the 100 races of VLF1, but they've sat on several podiums each. They've been consistent drivers. They've scored. They're in the top 10 point scorers ever in VLF1. It's just great to see the battle between them whenever they get close to each other. They've had rivalries all over the globe on lots of different circuits. This isn't a racing rivals matchup, but Pyro, do we think Brandon or Glenn's going to come out on top today? Do you see either being victorious?
Glenn. Sorry, Brandon, but I feel like as soon as the cars get heavy again, some people might misjudge the feeling of the car, and I feel like Brandon is gonna be one of those drivers. So,
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, hopefully we can get that confirmation of the race order with our starting grid on screen. Okay, so we just saw the Racing Point powerhouse. Obviously, Aston Martin is the official team that will be going on the spreadsheet because of the game switch. Whatever team they're under, Sunny and Zydox are really damn fast, and they're going to be on the front row. They blitz their competition. We saw Gaben getting close, and we saw Maka having similar pace alongside him. Both Project Ferrari drivers coming in well. They were alphas, Gaben getting that promotion this week. Somtha had a pretty disappointing Q2, but made up for it with a really nice final lap in Q3. And Shadow Hopper has flown under the radar so far, but he's really at home in the upper half of our running order at the moment. Project Ferrari completing its complement with Glenn in P7 and Franklin in P8 within 1.2 seconds of our leader Sunny. And then completing our top 10, we've got Carlos in P9, slowest time in Q3, and Crispy obviously with the super license penalty at the start of Q3. Miffy was actually displaced, maybe a bad tactical choice. He was on mediums going through Q2 and got caught out by Glenn and Somtha at the end. Monty couldn't quite make it and was in the pits at the end. Charmander, we sort of railed on him in the cast because he retired from the session early. And then Blaze just couldn't get the timing to count. We're now going into the bottom section of the grid. Impress and Calm make up row 8. Impress still having a few pace issues, Calm having more game technical issues. Both Calm and Travis will be looking for a last to first challenge here. Travis and Hodgson, a really veteran row 9, will be going all the way from the rear of the grid. That is, if you exclude Law and Scott, who had super license penalties and had to leave at the start of Q1. Both unknown quantities today, and we'll see how they match up. We'll see if they get a good start off the line and they're able to keep their temperament. Law especially, it's great to see him back, only having attended one race in the last 8. Pyro, what are we looking like for predictions? We said Sunny would qualify first, and he did. Has he got the win?
I actually don't think so. I can't put my finger down on who will win, but I really hope and I really think that it's not a Sunny dominant track. I can see some safety cars, Sturgy playing a big part of it, and Sunny either botching one of those. So I don't think he will win all this.
Yeah, Sunny is on paper the fastest driver, but there's so many things that can happen in the race. Even on a more stable game with fewer safety cars and fewer incidents, there's so many good drivers that in the absence of pace can absolutely strategize the way around you. Travis is one of those. He's got strategy up the wazoo. Despite the memes around Hodgson, he's planned more than one race here and he's scored in the top 3 a couple of times. You can never count out drivers like Carlos, who has several wins dating back to season 1 and has actually made a really nice tactical call as weather has intervened. However, unfortunately for Carlos, looking like clear skies at the moment, looking very clear for the duration of the race. Joycey, we're seeing all of our drivers waiting at the moment. At the moment, what sort of things are they doing in the run-up to the race?
They'll be doing their exercises, their stretches, talking to Toto, talking to Christian, getting ready. But in all seriousness, they'll be preparing the setups, looking at the tyres, talking through strategies, maybe checking the weather. Although it looks like it's blistering hot summer, so who knows? But yeah, plenty of prep, plenty of talking to each other. Make sure that they're confident. Communication in F1 is key, and people underestimate that.
Absolutely, and it's one of the advantages of the 4-man project calls as opposed to just 2-man constructor calls. Sure, it can get crowded, but then you've got so many more people to bounce off. Normally, in a project call, you've got a really experienced captain, Trav, Glenn. I think that's all the experienced project captains we've got in the league. We've got all sorts of tactical nous you can share with people. A couple of the adjustments that are happening. It's worth saying there is an additional switch that our drivers can throw when they are in control of the cars here. They couldn't do it in F1 2021, but they can move into lean mix, which lowers the fuel usage, or rich mix, which increases the fuel usage, and there's an associated speed diff there. Pyro, with that at the driver's fingertips, did you ever really control the fuel much? Do you think it's going to sort of distract the drivers to have that extra little switch to throw, rich or lean?
Oh yeah, that coming back, that is an option again, right? I completely forgot about that one. I don't know if anyone actually, well, the people that practice probably remember that they have no control over the fuel. I personally always like to underfuel because I expected safety cars, and then you kind of gain back the fuel and you're a little bit lighter at the start. But I know most of the drivers like to overfuel and use a lot of rich mix. So I think if they remember how to use it properly, they will not get distracted too much. If they haven't played for a while, it could be interesting. They might even forget that they're on lean, and then that might cost a lot of time for them.
Yeah, it's one thing that can certainly eat into your tents as you try and get a more consistent race pace. It's one of the things that our drivers can do in like a big combo when they want to get like onto the hanger straight and really blitz past someone. They put the fuel mix up to rich. They put the ERS on and they put it on hot lap mode, which really eats into the battery. If you're within a second after lap 3, you can activate the DRS system as well, which makes your car more aerodynamically effective and increases the speed while you're in that 1 second zone behind another car. Of course, there's the natural slipstream effect that you can have. You can benefit from the aerodynamics of your car following another car on the straight. People call it clean air. So the combo of DRS, ERS, aerodynamics, and rich fuel mix, if you pop all 4 of those at the same time, the speed differential can be quite staggering, and it's what we'll see if drivers want to get the overtake. The problem then is, if you overtake a driver, they can then do the same on you. They will be able to slipstream off you. If they can keep within a second, they'll be able to keep the DRS going. One thing that we've seen with Silverstone over the course of its 5 occurrences thus far is the emergence of DRS trains. Harking back to my own history in Season 2, me and Hodgson were on the Renault team. We had a switch in the transfer window immediately before Silverstone. I was replaced by Charmander on the Renault team. So while me and Hodge were using DRS trains to beat Charmander in the first half of the season, it then switched, and Hodge and Charmander were able to use DRS trains to beat me from then on. So still not resentful. 3 seasons later, 18 months. Don't worry, not crying, no tissues.
Just to jump in real quick, we have a Twitch prediction, and today's prediction will be if we have 2 or less safety cars or more than 2 safety cars. So that will be interesting to know. Well, you guys, Twitch chat can vote on these 2. What do you guys both think about it? 2 or more safety car or 2 or less safety car? Can you want to go first?
Yeah, let's do it. I don't think we'll see 2. I think it will have been, if this was a 2021 edition, we would maybe see higher curbs. We'd see drivers struggling with the handling model, especially with the larger grid. I think we'd see lots of safety cars. It was almost a regular occurrence. We had several in Baku, in Bahrain, in Saudi Arabia. The last few races were safety car heavy. From what I've seen in 2020, from what I've seen in qualifying, no, I don't think we'll see even 1, and that's a hot prediction as we go into our formation lap.
Ooh, interesting. You Joyce, real quick.
Real quick, I think we'll see just the 1.
A 1 safety car. Okay, interesting.
Should that happen, guys, we'll let you know as to what will happen with the strategy and whether drivers will change tyres or not. At the moment, we're going out on our formation lap. So, Pyro, with a formation lap, what are our drivers doing?
They're trying to warm up the tires, bring them up to their perfect temperature, so they have a clean start and don't fall back too much. Because, as you know, the start is one of the most important because you can gain a lot of places or lose a lot of places. It is interesting to know, though, that the mediums require a little bit more work to get them into perfect temperature, while the softs are easily get into more working temperature. And if someone out there is trying the hardest at the start, I don't know. I haven't seen anybody yet trying that. But these are essentially the hardest one to warm up. And yeah, if you have cold tires, meaning if you go full out flat turn one, you're most likely to spin or crash into somebody. So that you would want warm tires here. And as production just said, we have the tires on the screen and no one's trying their hardest. So makes sense. It's
Yeah.
a soft medium.
Yeah, well said. Josie was right the whole time. Soft medium does seem to work. AWS, Jeff Bezos, is on his side because it suggests that the pit window, lap 11 to 14, so sort of the midpoint of the race, is a nice switching point. 11 laps on one, 15 laps on the other. And yeah, MasterCard strats, one red, one yellow. Drivers, having warmed up their tyres, as Pyro alludes to, getting them into the operating zone, are now going to slow back down, get ready to line up on the grid. Sunny, Zydox, Gaben and Maka, the front four are all going to be on the medium tyres. They did not need the softs to get through to Q2. From Q2 to Q3, rather. The remaining drivers in the top 10 all had to use the softs. So we're going to see a nice little dynamic where Somther and Shadowhopper are really going to be laying into these Ferrari drivers. But that's not what I want to look at. I want to see Calm and Travis, our combined three-time world champions, fight from P16 and P17, past Charmander, past Miffy, past all of Project Ferrari, and into that real top echelon. We've got a really tough fight on our hands. Okay, back to 2020. We've got a full grid, 20 drivers. The lights are out, and all of our drivers are starting. We've got drivers jockeying for position. Carlos and Impress have collided, and already drivers are finding their cars have lots of damage. Impress is out on the start line. Carlos and Impress colliding. We're seeing a bit of an incident with the timing stack, but the two Racing Point drivers are ahead. We've got Gaben, Somther, Maka, and Franklin leading out. Previously, when we've had this sort of DQ incident on turn one, we've had a reset, so we'll keep you in comms as these things happen. As it stands, though, Racing Point leading out. Pyro, did you catch any of that?
That was weird. I don't even know what happened, but Carlos and Impress weren't even close to each other, so that wasn't a weird one. Were they? I don't think so. They were, because Carlos was P9 and Impress was all the way down.
Yeah, P15. So I'm not sure what happened there. It did definitely show a collision between the two. Either way, it was a VSC. That's now been cleared. Our two boys in Aston Martin, or the Pink Racing Point on this game edition, are going to be at the front. The time intervals are resolving, and we're seeing a lot of our drivers get into a chain, one wide, in a slipstream chain going down behind the straight. Until DRS comes in, it's unlikely we see too many overtaking opportunities. Crispy going to have a bit of a go at Glenn, but not able to find too much purchase. Glenn being able to find the outside on Stoke corner.
We just got the news that Carlos didn't see the lights go out on his screen, so that would explain the collision.
Yeah, Impress was 3 car positions back from Carlos, so could have gone into him at full speed. But it looks like the race is on for now. We haven't had the swing of exits, which normally indicate a restart. We're past the first 2 laps, so we're all in the green. We've got Somther, Gaben, Franklin, Shadow, Glenn, Crispy, Blaze, Monty making up the top 10. So Maka really want to lose out as a result, although we're still waiting on a couple of the intervals to resolve themselves, which they normally do after they pass sector lines.
Travis is in the pits, that's interesting. I don't know if he got damage or what happened to him. He also got a 5 seconds, so I don't know if you can, or if he served his penalty in the pit. But yeah, so he's in a really disadvantaged position now.
Yeah, showing no penalties at the moment, which means he has served his 5 seconds. However, he's set himself back a lot more than that by just losing the time, extra pit stop, and just he's ages off of a potential DRS train, which is so vital to keeping yourself going in this race. The graphic on my screen is showing Travis in P1, but the stream is pretty accurate right now, so definitely go by what you're seeing with your eyes at the moment. Cody's could throw that all into perspective. Okay, Sonny crossing the line. He's going to be starting off lap 3. And we're going to be seeing the DRS active. So we're going to be seeing drivers who are within a second of each other. At the moment, that's most of our grid. Able to use the DRS system at various points in the track. The Hanger Straight is the big one. Wellington Straight as well, I think you benefit. Where you can hopefully get an overtake to happen. Somfer on the softs wants to catch up, but more than a second behind Zydox. Okay, I want to watch Calm here. He's using the DRS. He's going past Monty, and he's moving up to his captain, Blaze. Nice little Merc double. What are we thinking with Calm, Pyro?
I mean, he just does his usual business, looks like. He already moved up to P10 if he overtakes Brandon now. Yeah, he just did the move. I don't know if it was team orders, if he was like, yeah, you're faster, just go by. Which most likely was the call. But yeah, I mean, that's just car business.
Yeah, sometimes Brandon is, I know this from experience, sometimes Brandon will maximise his pace, but be reluctant to just let teammates fight for the sake of it. However, you don't really have that discussion with Calm. Crispy going for Glenn here. This could be awkward, too wide into Stowe corner. Was there contact there? That was really close. Glenn almost forced off the track on the outside. Crispy going to have the lead going into Vale. Glenn having the apex. This is like really nice racing between these two drivers. Glenn getting primacy once again, as we're seeing the 3-second penalty back for Scott. Glenn and Crispy racing to the limit there. Love to see it.
Glenn, he's defending very well. He learned a lot from racing these past seasons. I remember back in the days when he was back marker. He grew up so fast.
It's okay. What the Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away. Glenn could always be a back marker before this race is over. Somther within half a second of Gaben. He's on the soft tyres, so it's on him right now to make the first half of his race count. He'll be on to mediums later, which are slower, so he needs to get past Gaben when he can. Stay within a second, get around Maggots and Beckett, and then use the DRS on the Hanger Straight to overtake the lead Project Ferrari driver. I do love seeing those trains sort of develop. Calm, even with his mentality, even with his history, is struggling to get the jump on Crispy because of the tyre deficit, and because Crispy is in that train. DRS train is so important here.
And it's interesting, Gaben overtook Santa again, which is quite good for Gaben and not so good for Santa because he's on the soft tire. But it will be interesting to see because I don't know how long this. Kind of a lockup from Gaben, as I was saying. So that's interesting to see if Santa can maybe get the position back and give Gaben a little bit more of a harder fight.
At the same time, I love seeing Glenn and Crispy here. They're resuming their fights. It looks like Glenn is marginally, very marginally faster than Crispy, but can't make it count because Crispy then has the slipstream, has the train, but Glenn is then getting boosted along by his teammate Franklin. So it's this sort of thing which makes racing so good on this circuit. They can continue their close racing all through the first half, through the pit lane with a swap. Ferrari, of course, could have the double stacking to consider, and then through the second half they will probably be in similar positions. Part of what makes this so enticing. Do you see any surprises so far? Any drivers who you'd expect to be a bit higher on? Trav is the obvious one for me.
Yeah, Trav seems to have the collision with Impress. He got a penalty at the serve, he had tyres changed, damage reduced, whatever. Yeah, so Trav is the obvious one. Trav, on the somebody who has a very much blasé attitude, isn't pulling any trees up. On the other hand, Carb, the alien, up into P10. So definitely a difference there. I don't know. Speaking from a football background, I often hear of players that I can't be bothered to play, or I can't be bothered to do this. And in my head, I'm thinking, why show up at all if you can't be bothered to put everything into it? And it's sort of the same here. Why show up to qualifying at all if you only half-arse it? Because then you're in this position where you're trying to fight around drivers that you really shouldn't be fighting with.
Yeah, like, whatever you do, you you're there for the full 15 minutes. You're going to have to wait for other drivers anyway. I'm sure that'll be one of the dissections he makes after the race. But yeah, he's not lighting the world on fire, is our boy Charmander. Hodgson on the soft tyres, trying to get past him. Hodge, of course, fighting from a very low position because of that Q1 penalty, but hasn't made it stick. I think 2020 is doing a really nice thing, and it's really making a lot of our drivers' pace more equal. So it's really promoting good racing. Apart from that incident on I can't even say turn 1 because it was the start line with the Salzburger slam. We've had very clean racing throughout. We haven't really had the high contact, the wings coming off, the big problems. We've seen people go too wide, like Charmander and Monty are doing now, Glenn and Crispy were doing earlier. And this is ideal for VL for me. We've got everyone competing on a closer playing field, even if you're not Calm or Sunny. And hopefully this continues. Calm is going right up to Glenn now. Crispy has made it past those back two Project Ferrari guys, or rather, the Project Ferrari guys in the middle of the field. Calm is coming onto the hangar straight now. He's got a great exit coming towards Glenn, and he's going to make that overtake stick. Franklin is his next target.
Yeah, Calm is a little bit like a predator in the wild, isn't it? When he gets going in his groove, he like every turn, every corner. Can I take them? Can I take them? Tell you what, though, Glenn's trying to like stick it on him, put him under pressure. Like, no pun intended, but that nose was right into him. Maka into the pits already, so it looks like he's maybe taking some damage. So not ideal for Maka. He's also on the mediums as well, so he's going to have to swap. Probably going to have to do a two-stop at this point, unless he goes hards.
Yeah, two-stop or hards, great way to summarise it, JC. We're going to see whether a new wing gets put on. Yeah, the Alfa Romeo garage is busy. They've put a second wing on. So that is going to be damage from whatever's happened recently. I'm immediately looking to see too wide, and it is Monty and Hodgson in the early part of the track. Monty's flown very under the radar so far on the Renault/Alpine team. He was, of course, the one who finished third with a 0 stop in intermediate tyres in wet conditions in, I want to say, Season 4. But yeah, fighting from almost the back at the moment. Calm has Franklin within his sights. He continues to climb up the table as the Racing Point boys still hold 1 and 2. We've got a train forming, but Calm has now got P7 with the mediums, the slower tyre compound.
Yeah, gobble gobble, that's all Calm's doing right now. Every position, he's just going to take them, eat them up. Crispy, next on the radar for Calm as well. On to Somther then, I think. I know it looks like we're jumping to Hodgson, so Hodgson looking to battle with Monty. He's half a second behind him. He's going to get the DRS when he gets around to the protection zone. I don't know if he was in I think he must have been. So ahead of him, he's seeing that Monty and Blaze are battling though. They're going side by side into the corners. Could really capitalise on this. Maybe get round, get a nice little bit of a slingshot round both of them and see if we can take those positions. Hodgson and Brandon has definitely got a bit of a rivalry between it as well. So watch out for the little bit of racing battles there.
Definitely the history. I think Brandon used every opportunity on the 4-hour stream yesterday to slate Hodge, even when we were directly interviewing him, so that'll be a fun battle. Hodge is in an awkward situation now. He's got the soft tyres, he's got the pace. On paper, he should get past these two, but he can't be drawn into the battle. He's got to pick his moments, and this might be a good one. He's got the Wellington straight ahead. He's popping his ERS. He's using the DRS. He's got the slight speed differential on Monty. He's got to make that count as he goes into the inside on the next corner, approaching Luffield. And yeah, he's moved himself clearly ahead of Monty going into the straight before Woodcut.
Yeah, nicely done, nice and clean, textbook manoeuvre, what we like to see. He's now got Brandon firmly in the sights, ready for, after, if he has a good Cops, good Max and Beckett's. Wait, Brandon go wide?
Yeah, he was totally doing. That was a Lewis Hamilton, like, Abu Dhabi lap 1 then, but then he couldn't get himself into a good position for Maggots and Beckett. And Hodge has made the move.
And Brandon gets a penalty for that, I believe.
Blaze, to be honest, already had that penalty, so he's really suffering with his discipline. He's not keeping it in the lines. He's like the 6-year-old with the colouring book. You can then argue about whether Alex could drive the car better than Brandon, but we won't get onto that level of flame yet.
I mean, you've seen him on the scooter, right? He's definitely got more spot in the blood.
Yeah, boy. He's got a Season 7 championship locked down already. Monty is going to be chasing Blaze now as the back 4 drivers starting to fall adrift. Raw, Scott with the early penalties, Maka with the extra pit stop. Trav has been 1 pit stop behind for the entire race. Sonny and Zydox have a 3-second lead on Gaben. They're towing each other away, and this is theirs to lose. It's going to take a safety car, some damage, maybe a landmine, snipers in the stands, a disconnection, and still the best race of Gaben's life to decode them.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of a feel of the Flyer Calm of last season around it, isn't it? So these IDOCs both got good pedigree, good drivers, lots of pace in the bank, and as you say, good teamwork as well. One thing that Flyer and Calm, and then the rivals last season with Charman and Trav, both teams had, was good teamwork, good communication, good working together. And exactly what we've seen here, pulling away together, not just flying off on your own, pulling Zydox along with you, getting his pace up as well. Nice to see.
Fantastic exit from Carman, having to dodge Shadow Hopper there as we enter the Hangar Straight. Really nice move by Carmu. Gobble gobble, he's still going through the grid. He started in, I want to say, P16 or P17 due to the issue with Q1, and he's advanced 10 positions already through the grid, going towards Crispy, and he's been on the slower tyre the whole time, by the way, guys. He's just been able to blitz past people on the same tyre compound. He's got the exits. This is why Mercedes are so feared with Carman, why Blaze is just giggling to himself when he made that move.
Hodgson with a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lanes. What a silly penalty to get. It's not great for him. Sonta into the pits as well. Plenty of drivers jumping in, Shadow Hopper amongst them. So changing out those tyres, getting onto those mediums, as you'd expect.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. AWS has confirmed. You had it right the whole time. It's the soft medium. Everyone's adhering to it right now.
Secret genius, what can I say?
Hell yeah. Okay, so drivers leaving the pits. We'll see how they stack up as the rest of the field completes them. Pyro, some of the drivers are pitting earlier, some are pitting later. Is there a strategy behind that? What are the reasons the drivers could do it?
I mean, it depends also on the setup. Some may take a more aggressive setup, which shrinks the tires more, and some take a different that, let's say, treats the tires a little bit different. And I'd say it has also a lot to do with where you're competing a lot, where you're driving behind another driver that destroys the tires quicker as well. And yeah, that has a lot to do with it. I think the ones that pitted quite early were, I think, Shadow Hopper, and I think for him it's theory, and Sobta. I think that they, with the speed difference, may undercut the other soft drivers and maybe gain 1 or 2 positions with that.
Yeah, undercut is going to be key. Joycey, we're seeing a few more drivers go into the pits. Give us a shout as to what sort of strategy a couple of the drivers are doing.
Yeah, so Glenn back into the pits, gets onto the mediums, as Crispy has done as well. And I imagine we'll see the rest of the soft runners very shortly into the pits. They've left an extra lap, hoping to get a bit of wear out of them. As Copy said about the aggressive nature, these drivers probably on a bit more side of caution. However, they will have a slightly fresher tyre towards the end of the race, which could prove vital. We are seeing a really interesting battle between Monty and Blaze right now. On the last lap, Monty got the overtake, went wide, Brandon got the switch back, got back in front. But I think we're going to see the same again. It could be slight contact coming as well. They're driving incredibly close to each other. It's actually really good racing, I'll be honest.
Oh, I thought for a second it might be Hamilton Verstappen situation. Luckily not. It's interesting to see Franklin and Law still not pitting. They're the only two that aren't on the softs and are still running on the softs. Will be interesting, of course, to see now if they're pitting. Let's see, Franklin does pit. Yes, okay, he does pit now. I was about to say, because maybe they wanted to push the soft stint a little bit further, so they have a little bit fresher mediums for the end stint and maybe gain some positions there. I mean, already 2 laps in is quite a lot, but I don't know. Maybe it worked out in a different way than they thought it would go. Or maybe they hope for a safety car as well, who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are hearing from production that he has wing damage, Scotty. So he's heading into the pits. He's hoping, I mean, it's going to be a bit of a gamble that the soft's going to last, I'm presuming. This is going to go for a 2-stop, and at this point, that could be catastrophic. We see Law into the pits, onto the mediums as expected that you said, Copy. So all the soft runners now onto the mediums. It'll be the next pit battle will be when the rest of the grid pit for their softs.
Ooh, white tyres making an appearance into the racetrack for the first time. Scott doesn't think the softs can make it last, and obviously had to pit for the wing damage, so he is going to come out on the hard tyres. As we said earlier, massive speed disadvantage. We didn't think that would appear in a competitive pit strategy. He's already at the back of the grid, so he's going to have to hope for some incidents further up. We'll see the rest of the field sort of resolve themselves as the front 8, who have been on medium tyres the whole time, are going to wait a couple laps, take the optimal time to pit onto the soft tyres, and then complete using the best strategy. Sunny and Zydox is going to be the key one, because they're both in the same constructor, not this project. They will share the same pit box. So if they both try and pit at the same time, with them being within a second of each other, Zydox, as the trailing car, will have to wait an extra, I will say, 3 to 4 seconds for Sunny to have the pit stop and for the mechanics to clear the area. May even be more if there's wing damage at stake. So they're going to have to pit on alternate laps. It doesn't normally matter which driver pits first, but it means they can't do it at the same time. They don't want to get undercut, but they should have got themselves enough clearance from Gaben and the rest of the grid that they can do whatever they like.
What happened there? Just saw Hodgson's wing implode. Looks like he collided with Franklin.
Yeah, right end plate is gone there, so I've just got a quick look at Hodgson's car. So yeah, it definitely looks like a collision rather than like going over a curb or into a wall, because on the simulation damage setting which we're running now, that would be a much more severe impact. Hodge is in a difficult position right now, because with him already having pitted and now on the mediums, by right this should be his final stint, so he's either going to have to drive the rest of the race with a sub 100% car, or take that extra pit stop and throw his Delta into chaos. A real problem for Hodge, who would normally be competing, especially on this game, for the top 6, top 8 positions. It's not gone to plan for him for today.
No, not at all. And we're also seeing Franklin with damage as well, who's already just pitted as well, so not ideal for these two drivers. That could really ruin the race.
Ooh, quick pass from Crispy onto Shadowhopper, and that's a switchback. Fantastic. Coming around Stoke Corner. These two drivers are on fairly fresh mediums. Whopper with a 3-second time penalty. But just like we saw with Crispy and Glenn earlier, I really like the racing that's happened. We've got a yellow flag, and it looks like it's on Gaben. I'm not sure what happened there. He was going really slowly around the Luffield corner. We'll find more as that develops. But yeah, back to Crispy. He was just pulling off really good racing with Shadow. And Maka is looming as well. He's on the fairly fresh mediums. He's been in the doldrums for the whole first part of the race. He still has to pit, so he's not going to be a danger for the rest of Crispy and Shadow's race. He's just glad to have company in a DRS train.
Yeah, Trav finally crawling back into a decent position. However, look at the old tyres. He's going to have to pit again. So he's going to put him right back, which is not ideal. We're seeing Hodgson in the pit serving a penalty, so presumably from that collision. Was that Hodge or was that Franklin? Not sure. One of the two. Oh, they're both serving the penalty, so presumably that is what the collision was from, so where the damage came from. Hodgson away. There we go. So presumably both had 5 seconds, although to be confirmed.
Yeah, Hodge definitely did, but well, the race director will have it all. So Hodge to have a 5-second penalty, to repair a wing, and to go into an extra pit they didn't need to have. It's the triple crown of shit penalties you don't really want, and he's going to be dead last. He doesn't have to pit again unless, of course, wing damage happens another time, but it doesn't matter to him. He's sort of seeing his hopes of getting points evaporate in the wind.
Yeah, onto Maka trying to attack this Crispy Shadow battle then. So this could be a nice little trio of overtakes. All 3 drivers pretty accomplished, pretty decent. Can hold their own. And so maybe it just comes down to strategy, comes down to tyre wear. The tiniest margins can really decide this. So they've gone through the DRS detection zone, so we'll know who's got the DRS. I think Shadowhopper's going to be the disadvantage here. So can he defend it well? Can he get the elbows out? Crispy opening up the vents. He can't close the gap enough. They've pulled away from Maka.
Oh, Maka actually has wing damage. He's missing one of his end plates, and he was very close to Crispy on the approach into Farm Corner at the start of that lap. All of my spidey senses are telling me that Maka dooted Crispy on the way into that one then, or maybe there's a brake check involved. But ever since the last sort of 3-4 corners, Maka has fallen a bit off. Pyro, we've got some action on the pits. Who's in there?
We have Zydox, Gaben in the pits. Zydox was briefly in the lead, but then I guess they decided that Zydox still want to pit before Sunny. And Gaben also pitting, so that might be interesting to see how this plays out. And especially with Sunny staying out one more lap, if the out lap from Gaben can actually impact something on the first and second place from the racing points. And by the way, Calm is in P2 now for whatever reason because Calm does the Calm things. So he just appears in second place and just throws in his works.
On one hand, it's not a real position because the drivers haven't pitted yet. Calm still has to switch for the softs. But you just get that feeling of the Calm evolved. I've missed it. Just that abject terror of he's on the course, he's doing really well, he's going last to first. Calm is 15 seconds behind Sunny, and the fact that Sunny is keeping the delta with Calm about the same at the moment is a massive compliment to Sunny's driving credentials and to his World Drivers' Championship bid. Calm normally destroys people at this point in the race. They still have to pit for their soft stint, and Sunny's going in now.
Yeah, it seems a bit like the Max versus Lewis situation, doesn't it? Of like sort of the passing of the torch. Obviously, I'm not ruling out Lewis in real life. He's still got a fantastic career ahead of him, but there are always rumours circulating that he's retiring and whatnot. It's sort of the same. Sonny's showing that he has the pace. He can challenge the almost unbeaten one in the last 2 seasons. And as you say, matching that delta, massive compliment.
I'm not sure what the fastest lap is, but Calm is already beating his current time. Can't be too far off.
I think we might see Calm pitting this lap though.
Yeah. His teammate Blaze is already in, so already rumours of double stacking aren't going to happen. Sorry, my mistake. That was Monty, not Blaze. Blaze is still out on 16 lap old mediums. But at this point, the gap between the two Mercs is too big that it won't matter for double stacks.
Absolutely. Sunny with the fastest lap confirmed to answer your question, Cradden, with 1:28.038. So really good pace. He's obviously, I mean, he's a second faster than Calm almost. So that is some incredible speed. And don't forget, he did have the benefit of having teamwork. So we saw Zydox briefly in the lead. Potentially that was some sort of slingshot for Sunny before he went into the pits, maybe. So really good teamwork there. But Sunny with an incredible speed.
Yeah, to be able to battle off Calm is the ultimate. It's the final boss of VLF1. 33, 34. I've lost count of the race wins. He's got that many.
Yeah.
Sunny within half a second of Zydox, and if it's going to be similar form to the early part of the race, Sunny's going to sweep past Zydox. Zydox moving aside. That's a team orders move right there, and I love the way the racing points have worked together. Zydox is not actually Sunny's permanent teammate. Zydox is a regular sub that has been slotted into Aston Martin / Racing Point for the last few weeks. And Sunny's admitted on the stream yesterday, they make a really good team duo. They have the credentials of Travis Charmander of Calm Flyer. That's the company we're talking with them in.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be all for them to play for. If they don't get a P1, P2, it'll be some sort of miracle from the rest of the grid.
Pyro, you were talking about Gaben there.
Yeah, Gaben just put in the fastest lap of 1:27.2, I think. So showing that they are not to forget about him, Zydox and Sonny.
Yeah.
So on the fresh softs, Gaben really putting out a good pace. Throw down that goal and say, come on then boys, what have you got in the tank?
Yeah, it's worth saying a pit stop. Depends on the track and other conditions like traffic. Normally a pit stop's between 20 and 25 seconds. So if you look at Calm at the moment, he's probably going to end on...
Oof, sorry, there's a little bit of contact. I thought it was going to be a bit worse, but Miff it into the side of the Glen.
Glen spins.
And Glen is now spinning around. Not great for the Ferrari, man. Cradden, as you were.
Yeah, I'm going to have to change tack as well because that will ruin Glen's pit strategy as well. He was on his final stint. He spun. I don't know if he has any wing damage. I'm struggling to tell from the aerial shot. But he's certainly got his emotional damage. He's going to have to recover. He's lost some time. And we'll see what he does at the moment. But yeah, crippling blow for him.
Yeah, Zydox, fastest time of a 1:26.8 now, saying, you know what, Gaben? Pass me that gauntlet off the floor, sunshine. Let me throw it back down at you. What have you got?
Yeah, Sonny with an amazing tow there. The racing points, we'll talk about them a bit more later, but they have been really good in passing the torch. Blaze and Com going for a really late pit. They're actually the latest drivers to pit, given that everyone else started on their original first stint and have gone into the pits before this point. Com pitting 1 lap later. He's going to go for 19 laps on the mediums and set an absolutely blistering pace towards the end. I think he's maybe over-egged it by 1 or 2 laps, but I don't want to have the arrogance to correct Com on strategy. He's that good.
Absolutely, and I'm just looking at the deltas, and I'm just seeing Sonny's time just dropping, Calm hemorrhaging the pace here, and it's not great. He had almost 12 seconds between them, and he's now down to 10 into the 9s now.
Yeah, Sonny doing really well. He's on the fresh softs. You would expect anyone to eat into an 18-lap medium time at the moment. Calm is going out around again. He's not pitted yet, and he's coming to the end of lap 19. I wonder if Calm's hoping for safety car insurance. We're getting to the point where I'm trying to think of reasons why he would not go into the pits at this point. It can't be optimal on the game and with the game engine. Calm must just feel comfortable, or he's forgotten that pit stops exist. Either way, the zone that he's in is one where he's setting blistering speeds, as we'd expect from him. He does need to get onto those soft tyres soon.
Yeah, Calm's been away from the game for so long, he doesn't realise pits need to be a thing anymore.
Oh, quick divert to Crispy and Shadowhopper, who are going too wide around Vale and Club. Bit of a shake there for Shadowhopper, and Crispy's going to have the inside apex. He's going to pull ahead for now. Both of them are medium tyres. Will finish the race on this compound. Calm and, you'd argue, Travis, the only drivers that are yet to pit before the end of this race.
Yeah, and like I say, Trav, he's just going to fall down, sadly. It's a really awful thing to see for such an early collision. It's so early, it's literally off the start, and to have to then drive 26 laps knowing that you're pretty much out of the race unless something changes massively, it's not ideal. Hodgson then trying to unlap himself with Calm, I believe.
Let's have a quick look. Yeah,
Got the DRS. He sends it.
Overtook Hodgson earlier, given that Hodgson was lapped. And yeah, what an amazing move. Let's see if Calm goes into the pits now. He's not going to, and Law has retired. And let's have a look at where that was.
Calm decides to go in the pits at the last second because of this. He sees somebody retiring.
Yeah, I'm not even sure that where that retirement was. Law's AlphaTauri car is in the pits, so that screams real-life emergency to me. But Calm is going to go in there. I love his instincts. He needed to go sort of soon anyway, but he's going to have to go in as a result of a potential safety car. No such thing materializes, and Calm is going to live out the last bit of his track.
No.
He's stuck behind Law. Oh no, Law's car is retired, and it's held up Calm in the pits. This is horrific. No. This is not what anyone wants to see right here. This is absolutely flagrant. And Calm has been held up for the best part of 15 extra seconds in the pits. It is the game's balance technique. It spots that Calm is an absolute alien and has responded by absolutely messing him about, completely unfairly, hitting no other driver in this Grand Prix, singularly, specifically targeting Calm and absolutely messing him up, taking him from a potential top 5, maybe even top 3 finish, down to P9. He is mad. He is emanating waves of rage right now. His face must be as red as the tyres on his Mercedes at the moment. Micro tilts are out of the question.
Calm banking on the safety car, and he gets his own personal safety car in Law in the pit lane. Oh, cries of outrage and potentially even, don't want to say it on stream, but racism. Who knows?
Yeah, on the Lewis Hamilton street, no less. I'm going to stop talking about this now, but you're the owner of VL, so we're safe. We've got Calm in P9 on the fresh softs, 4 seconds back from Charmander, putting in what Trav could only describe as Anki mode laps right now. Charmander's done fairly well to get up into this position. You wonder how high he could have been if Q3 would have happened for him. But Racing Point have been the only beneficiaries here. Trav's had incidents, Calm's had incidents, and it's only looking brilliant, not only for Sonny as a World Drivers Champion-elect, but also as Aston Martin/Racing Point, because they're set to get at least 43 points here, maybe 44 with the fastest lap. And Red Bull, at the moment, have got 4 points from Charmander. It's going to be absolutely brutal for the World Constructors' Championship. There was a 91-point gap. That's almost cut in half at the moment.
It's going to be interesting to see what Calm is going to pull out now. if he's gonna make it into the top 5. I can see it happen, but I can also see him being mentally done now and just not wanting to push anymore and just say, well, on to the next race, I guess.
Yeah,
So unfortunate for him. My heart goes out to him. What I will say is the split-second choice to go into the pit lane decided to smash out half the barriers, and so there's no speed, there's no yardage sign, or at least there wasn't when he did it. So, you know, maybe a bit of a rash decision, should have stayed out, or should have come in earlier.
Yeah, you'll be looking at the course of this race. Only by talking to him will we be able to know why he waited so long. He was on lap 20. Was it safety car? Was it personal preference? But indirectly, that ended up costing him because he ended up behind Law. And yeah, we'll see if the stewards do anything about that. It certainly feels unfair, but I'm not going to preclude anything at this point. Crispy and Shadowhopper have been close for the whole second half of the race. They're on medium tyres, they've both got 3-second penalties, so they are fighting for 5th position at the moment. Shadow may be more of an altitude nosebleed than Crispy. You maybe don't expect to see him so far up here, but you can't argue with him. 10 points on the board would be great for his credentials. And indeed for Shadow and Monty's Alpine/Renault team, because they've been struggling at the moment. They're in P7 in Constructors. Any points are brilliant. Monty getting 1 as well at the moment.
Right, I've got a great question for you then. So, in regards to Calm and potential stewards, now we're not saying stewards will get involved, they may not get involved at all, but theoretically speaking, what would you prefer? Would you prefer to be Sunny? Let's say Calm would have won, right? Would you prefer to be Sunny, win on the day, during the race at the end, all the adrenaline kicking through, the excitement, the yes, or would you rather it be given to you after the fact by the stewards on technicalities, but your name then goes down as a race winner for the rest of the BL history?
It's really awkward, and it really parallels those incidents in real life where you have like doping at the Olympics and you have people upgraded or downgraded because of doping incidents and steward rulings. For the feeling of glory, you want to win on the day, but it would feel so horrible to have that glory and then be upstaged. For me, every time it would be to have the name going down as the race winner, particularly if it meant winning a Drivers' Championship later on.
Fair point, yeah, fair point.
What about yourself?
What about you, Coffee? We'll go to Coffee first. Coffee, what do you think?
I'd say I agree on Cran's point, actually here. But I must say I didn't pay attention too much, if I'm gonna be honest, because I was a little bit distracted by what's happening with Crispy and Shadowhopper that I completely forgot to listen to you. But I just heard something about winning and championship. So what's that normal about again?
So essentially, would you rather win on the day, but later down the line it gets taken off you, or would you rather win later down the line, but on the day you don't win?
So we're saying, let's say Calm would have won the race. Would you rather be Sunny to win on the day and then have a second place on the spreadsheet? Or would you rather be Calm and have a bad time in the pits, but then be put in as the race winner later on?
I don't know. As a racing driver, I want to win when it happens. If I get a win later on, it just doesn't feel as good, you know.
Yeah.
I want to cross the line and see the first place. I want to see I did it on track, not later on. So
yeah,
I go with that.
Right. Onto this battle then that you mentioned about Crispy and Shadow. These two have been at each other for the best part of 15 laps, and it's still going on. Do we see any movement changing, Cran?
It's going to be close, and I think the hanger straight is going to be the decider here. I think Crispy is going to time his attack just as we get to the hanger straight, and I can see him keeping that to the line, but it's so hard to call either way. They've been fighting so closely the whole time, and with just over 1 lap to go, it really shows how close the racing has been between these drivers. I can see Miffy and Charmander, who both have a 3-second penalty. I can see them switching positions at the end of lap 26 to give Red Bull the points over Alpha Tauri. But yeah, I love seeing the close racing, and I love seeing just the 17 drivers on the track with Law's retirement and with the Salzburger slam down on lap 1. It's great rather than having like 3 safety cars and having loads of DNFs. I really want to see everyone driving closely towards the end. So overall, I want to say its F1 2020 move has been a success so far. We'll see what happens in the remaining races. Final lap starting now. Earlier on, we saw Sonny set the fastest lap one more time, and Scott had another incident where he had to pit again and took a penalty on the way in. Penalties could really be a decider at the line, but with no safety car, we're going to have those deltas open as far as they can. Sonny and Zydox 8 seconds clear of Gaben, the closest competitor.
Yeah, just having a quick look at the penalties. Calm could have been a benefactor, but he's 6 seconds away from Charman and Nerd and only 3 seconds of penalties. But that could have propelled him all the way up into P5, but obviously he's not close enough thanks to his personal safety car. Trav should potentially jump position just about into P10 to get some points for Red Bull. And you'd imagine, maybe Macca's just out of it. He's 7/10 out, I think.
Yeah, it's really close between him and Blaze when the penalties resolve. But yeah, they're fighting for positions outside the points at the moment. Shadow Hopper, Crispy, it's been a fun flashpoint for the entire race. It's about to get a lot less fun as it all resolves itself with the Hanger Straight. Drivers have used pretty much all of their ERS, about 20% left for both drivers, and they're going to use it all in one fell swoop. The fuel light is blinking for both of them. Maggots and Beckett is going to really set them up. However, we're going to take a look at Sonny as he crosses the line for the 9th win this season. He's going to get 26 points as things stand. His boy Zydok's going to cap off a perfect week for Aston Martin Racing Point. Let's see who follows them. Gaben is going to cross into P3. Something is going to be ages back, which shows just how well these front three have driven. Crispy going to go for it on the Hanger Straight. These two are fighting for position here. Joycey, how will you add into Vale?
Oh, they're going side by side. It's going to be so close. I think Crispy's got his nose ahead. Can he keep the race in line? Shadow's got potentially the inside. Crispy gets around. There we have it. Crispy, Shadow, Miffy, Charmander Nerd. Calm's going to take it to P9. Scotty serving the 5-second penalty at the back of the grid. And then we're going to see the penalties resolve themselves. Monty currently P10. Will that change?
Trav doesn't look like it's happening. Monty's already locked in there. Trav P11, he had a really horrible time at the start of the race. Made a 24-lap medium stint happen. I don't know how he does it. He's a surgeon with the tyres. But it's not enough to get any points. It's brutal, this world of Formula 1.
Hodge getting a late battle with Franklin. Sorry, can you take it away?
Yeah, Hodge and Franklin Joycey fighting for the line. Hodge having the lead going into the final few corners. Franklin does have a 3-second penalty, so Hodge did kind of have this wrapped up anyway. Scott was going to have an unserved penalty, and that's going to round out our last few positions. Sonny with his 9th win of the season, and Sonny and Zydox had that in control the whole time. It's really great to see them all hold that down. Calm was really great in his assault on the top few places, but he's going to have more than a few simple complaints at the way that safety car, or rather, Law's retiring car was handled. Well played, my boys, in Racing Point Aston Martin. That's fantastic for them. Joycey, any expectations different? Anyone overachieving? Anyone underachieving that we haven't already spoke about?
No, I think we covered everything. I just wanted to put on record my massive congratulations to the boys in pink, the Pink Panthers, that they can now be renamed to for the final bit of the season, which will be exciting. Lots to play for as you talk about the constructors really shaking up, with 8 points going to Red Bull, and I think is the full 44 going to Racing Point / Aston Martin. So yeah, he's cut that deficit pretty much in half, as you said earlier on, and with, I want to say 6-7 races to go.
Yeah, I think maybe 7 or 8, but yeah, it's coming into business end of the season.
And so it really opens that up. The door's wide open. If Zydox can get a permanent transfer into Racing Point, that could be a really, really game changer.
Yeah, Zydox is... Obviously, all the headlines will be about Sonny, and rightly so. But Zydox, he was on 58 points before this race. He already had 3 podiums from 5 races. He now makes it 4 in 6. He's been Sonny's wingman that whole race. He didn't even have to get involved with fending off other drivers, switching up his strategy. He just went ahead with his pace, kept Sonny there. And despite Zydox being well up there, it still takes a lot of pace to be with Sonny, even after getting his slipstream. So Zydox is Sonny's perfect teammate here. You maybe wonder if he could have challenged Sonny if they'd been on separate teams, but for now, we're very happy with the P2, with the overall 1-2 for Aston Martin Racing Point. Those 18 points, I think we'll need to confirm them, but Zydox should be going into the top 10 as a result. His combatants, Miffy and Hodgson, not getting enough points to stop his rapid ascent. Zydox will go up to 76 points and will actually be within touching distance of Somfer. I don't think we would bet against him getting into that tussle between Gaben, Glenn, Charmander, maybe even Maka into that top 4 shootout. Zydox is that good. Okay, Pyro, over to you as well. Was there anyone that stood out for you? Anyone that really underachieved for you, or anything that you just took away from that race?
Well, we've covered most of it, and we've seen in the race quite some unfortunate events. Lucky for Travis, he didn't manage to get back into the points where he usually always manages to get back into that. He just missed out on 3 tenths to that last point. But I mean, it happens. Really unfortunate. Same with Calm. I mean, the game just said, no, you don't get a lot of points this race. That will be too unbalanced. So to balance this out, here have a longer pit stop. And besides that, not nothing else really to see. I mean, the both Williams in front of the senior Mercedes project team. Sometimes Crispy putting in 4th and 5th, really impressive. Crispy starting from P10 all the way up to P5, really really impressive. I mean, best weekend for Sunny and Psydogs, qualifying first and second, whole race dominating first, second. Gaben also more like being by himself, but also that is really means really well, really a lot. So yeah, nothing really much about to say that. Maybe the only disappointment was Glenn at the end, because I feel like he was somewhere in the midfield in the points with the spin. I feel like mentality and tires were gone, and the race was it for him as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's worth saying with Project Ferrari, Glenn put Gaben into the senior seat rather than Maka. Seems to be vindicated this weekend because even though Franklin, Glenn, and Maka ended up in the bottom half, they didn't score any points. Gaben was in 3rd. So overall, Racing Point and Aston Martin having a perfect weekend, getting loads of points. Sonny taking a massive lead in the Drivers' Championship. Aston Martin Racing Point cutting the deficit to Red Bull almost in half in the Constructors' Championship. We see a change to new teams. We see a change to the 2020 engine. We see a lot closer racing, a lot fewer safety cars, the return of old faces, and just a taste of the power that Calm can impart. It's obviously been a pleasure to cast once again. It's been brilliant to have Joycey and Sandro again alongside me. I've had the pleasure of casting with Sandro live. It's a bit different remotely, but still all good. Joycey, it'll be lovely to have you back next time. Still, Ben, thank you for all the production, and you won't be able to say you're welcome on stream because, haha, that's how sound works. Guys, cheers for watching. We'll see you next week in China when Hodgson will be collecting his win. And after that, we'll be returning to some really competitive racing. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you for watching. Good racing.
Night.
Bye.